I'd like to call to order the Westmont Village Board meeting of October 6, 2022 to order at 6 o'clock p.m. and ask our Clerk Simsky for a roll call, please.
Mayor Gunter.
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Guzzo. Here. Trustee Little.
Here.
Trustee Nero.
Here.
Trustee Simonovich, is she,
She's
Absent
absent
tonight.
tonight.
she'll be absent, okay, thank you. Attorney Zemanek.
Here.
Village Manager May.
Here.
Assistant Village Manager Parker.
Here.
Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting, and the first item is open forum. If there's an item on the agenda that's not on the agenda, now's the time to talk. Seeing open forum, there's nobody, I'll close open forum. Move on to reports. My report is first, and I do have to mention that we were the first DuPage County that was dementia-friendly, and we have programming going on. Next event at the library is titled Mental Health for Older Adults with Dementia. It will be held Wednesday, November 2nd at 1 o'clock. This week we had several ribbon cuttings, and the first one was the grand opening Quincy Station. It's a beautiful building. It's right here on Cass and Quincy. It turned out just the way they said, so I'm very proud of the fact that they're already 70% rented. Also, we had a 5-year anniversary for Inspired Living on 63rd Street. And last night, we had a 2nd anniversary of Cairo Care Wellness Center. Again, I want to congratulate everybody, and Larry Forsberg has done a tremendous job continually to promote our businesses. Now, we have a special community service recognition award, and I'd like to call Mr. Forsberg up to the podium to give some information about that.
Good morning, Mayor, or good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah.
A good day, and village board members. It's always a little bit of sadness when we see a business leave our community, especially a business that has served Westmont since 1981. But the owners of this business have done such a phenomenal job through the years. They have become a household name, not only here in Westmont, but throughout the Chicago area. I'm talking about Bohemian Crystal. Their last day of business was this past Sunday. And anybody who's driven past her in the last several weeks and tried to go in and have lunch or dinner, good luck, because their fans and friends were there in full force to have an opportunity to have one more meal at Bohemian Crystal. The owners of Bohemian Crystal, and Jerry are with us, but before we introduce them and ask them to come up, we have a very special presentation we'd like to read. Our very own Jerry Simsky has written something very special, so I'll turn it over to Jerry.
Oh, this is something new. No, he writes
The
great
only way I
poems.
get on
I
TV.
know.
And I'm going to have to wear these cheaters. Good evening. I have lived in Westmont since 1945. I have watched our business community grow and prosper with such memorable icons as Pleasure's Drugstore, which became Westmont Pharmacy, the Stop and Chat, where frozen custard flowed south of the tracks, Wayback's Hardware, where your household problems were solved, Stevens Department Store, home of all Westmont gym uniforms, and still serving the entire community, China Chef, Harrelson's Garage, and the Westmont Florist. But tonight, we are here to say goodbye and pay tribute to another jewel in Westmont's crown. Where have all those fluffy fruit dumplings gone? Westmont loses an irreplaceable face that has enhanced and enriched our residents and the entire western suburbs. The Bohemian Crystal on October 2nd, 2022 was no more. Our taste buds will only be able to remember that crispy golden duck, the super thin delicate pierogi, the old world potato soup, the house poppy seed dressing on a bountiful crisp salad, that pounded thin, tender, breaded pork chop. And of course, the half and half roast pork and breaded pork tenderloin, complemented by a dish of sweet but tart caraway kraut. These were some of my special favorites, but the bountiful menu was full of delicious discoveries which always satisfied. The dining space was always respected its old world heritage, and each season, and holiday, was represented by new added decor. You always felt at home. The red, white, and black waitress frocks lit up the area as the waitresses and a waiter delivered our feast. My Polish father, Steve Simski, was one of its most devoted fans. My dad loved my mom's cooking, but if that wasn't to be, the Bohemian Crystal was our destination. In my lifetime, I have attended countless funeral luncheons hosted by the Crystal team. What a wonderful place to gather, to eat, drink, and celebrate a worthwhile life. As we say goodbye to 639 Blackhawk Drive, remember all the good old days, because the Crystal was definitely a winner. Thank you, now and forever. And I repeat, thank you, bon appetit.
Would you come up? We're going to have a special presentation right now, please.
It gets to me too.
Don't cry. You're going to have a wonderful time in Florida.
Mayor, why don't you jump over here?
Thank you for your years of service here.
Larry's going to take a couple photos here.
Oh my God, it's gonna go. No, it's not gonna go public.
Ready, here we go.
Woman, take the glasses off.
1, 2, and we got it. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
I didn't prepare anything to say.
It's okay. Just from your heart.
I don't know what to say. I'm really honored with that plaque, and we have to thank you for all, because we had always support from you. We never had anything. You would give us a hard time with something, you know. I have to just thank you, and I don't know really what to say. You know, we are too emotional.
Just enjoy your retirement, and thank you for the 40 years, plus years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I'm no speaker.
Of course, I didn't eat dinner, and Jerry's talking.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
A pork chop. God,
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And I'll turn now to Clerk Simski for her report.
Village offices will be closed October 10th. Recycle and garbage pickup will not be affected. Election information, early voting in DuPage County has begun. Early voting locations have been posted on the village website. Additional voting info can be found on the county website. Also, we have placed candidate information packets for upcoming local elections at the Village Hall Business Office. And the Westmont Library will have early voting location. Registered voters can vote at the library October 24th through November 7th during voting hours. The library is located at 428 North Cass.
Well, thank you. And we'll turn to Trustee Little, Administration and Finance Committee Chair.
Thank you,
A
Mayor.
lot of information.
We do have a lot of information, but I'm going to kind of try to shorten it down and condense it. We did have an Administration and Finance Committee meeting tonight, and the first thing that we did was ask Chief Gunther to give a brief overview of a over 400-page bill, which is still in the works, on the Safety Act. The new system will go into effect on January 1st, 2023, and because it's still in the works, it's gonna probably have a lot of changes to it, but our chief of police was very informative and felt that we were going to be safe no matter what, so I take his word for it. Video gaming review, we talked about eliminating class 22 and going with just a class 23 license. Places for eating review, we talked about adding a fine and a fee for filing late and for paying late, and I think the businesses that are delinquent are going to have an issue with it, but we have to come out of this sooner or later. They've been collecting the money. Our financial report, eventually this will be up online before too long. We have very good news. It's always good news because of that department are just phenomenal. Moving on into the Wicked West Fest. It will continue to have fun fall and Halloween events throughout the month of October. On the 22nd October, which is a Saturday, there'll be several events downtown Westmont, including the costume contest at 10:15 a.m., the pumpkin smashing event at 11 a.m., the trick-or-treat trails goes from 11 to 1, and the casket races at 12:30. On the same day, the Park District will present the Haunted Forest Tour at Diane Main Woods. Please visit westmontevents.com for information on all the Wicked West events. Costume contest and photo booth. New this year to the Wicked West Fest costume contest, Westmont Special Events will set up a Halloween backdrop to create a photo booth so everyone can come and get their pictures taken for free. The Wicked West Fest costume contest and photo booth is being sponsored by Amazon Fresh. Halloween home and business decorating contest. Sign up for the Halloween home and business decorating contest at westmontevents.com. Online voting will occur the week before Halloween. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And we'll turn to Trustee Nero, Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple updates. Next Public Works Committee meeting is December 15th, 4:30, right here at Village Hall. And our 2022 MFT motor fuel tax concrete work on the southern streets is being wrapped up. And I'm sure everybody's noticed that the north side is pretty much finished as well. I know there's still some cleanup on some streets, but the contractors, I think, did a great job. I've driven by them probably multiple times and even noticed Primary Engineering out there a lot, really keeping them honest and making sure they did a good job. But from start to finish, to cleanup, to traffic, I thought it was all pretty smooth, even on some busier streets that we did this time. Quincy Street Alley. The alley is not accessible, and work is underway on Phase 1, the northern portion of the alley, so just a heads up there, it is not accessible, the northern portion. 61st and Cumner, stormwater basement improvements. The dewatering has been completed. I gotta go check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but the concrete box culverts have arrived, and the installation of culverts have began this week. So pretty big project for that area. Please check it out, and if you live over there, know that it's a great, great thing that's a long time coming. North Water Tower, the 180-day requirement has been waived, and the village will wait until final engineering is complete before it applies for the Planning and Zoning Commission review. In the meantime, the village will work to obtain easement to the west and construction easement to the north. Last but certainly not least, East Des Moines and Richmond water main tree protection areas have been marked. Julie's been out, and large equipment is starting to be delivered to the job site. So expect that to begin, I'd imagine, relatively soon. And that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Trustee Simonovich for the Police Public Safety Committee has a family event tonight, so I'll give a report. Police Public Safety Committee will be meeting in 2 weeks, right here at 4:30. And Chief will have some additional information on the safety bill. And they had a recap on the paper shred fundraiser. Last weekend, the police department raised $2,543 for Special Olympics of Illinois. And again, congratulations to, again, I think statewide, the only item that the police sponsors is Special Olympics. There's nothing else. All year long, they raise money to assist the Special Olympics program. Coming up on October the 19th, Special Olympics volleyball fundraiser. there'll be a Special Olympics volleyball fundraiser on October 19th at Westmont High School. The entire community is invited to attend. And again, this is various community, like the police department has a team, fire department has a team, the teachers, so it's a fundraiser, so come out and enjoy it. Drug Take-Back Day, October 29th, 10 to 2 at the police fire facility, 500 North Cass, and at Mariano's, 150 West 63rd Street. I do want to talk about the trick-or-treat hours. We have trick-or-treat on October 31st. It's always on October 31st unless Chief cancels it because of weather that one year. But the hours are similar to past years. The police department recommends that trick-or-treating hours occurs on Halloween, October 31st, between 2 and 7. And again, please, I think, have your porch lights on, indicating that you're participating in trick-or-treat. So again, that's all Trustee Simonovich would have said, and I'll turn to Trustee Johanna Guzzo for Fire Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next Fire Public Safety Committee meeting will be December 1st, 4:30 here in Village Hall. Everyone is invited to attend. Next, I would like to invite up Deputy Chief O'Hare to give us a recap of the Fire Department open house. I do want to comment, weather was perfect, so I'll let you give everyone the highlights.
Thank you, Trustee Guzzo. Yes, the weather was perfect. It allowed us to take advantage of the whole area at the South Fire Station. We had a wonderful turnout, estimated over 500 attendees. Many of the people in this room were there, so thank you all for attending and for the participation. Communications did a great job of advertising the event. Police was represented in the Touch a Truck area, as well as Public Works. We had demonstrations every half an hour, 3 rappel demonstrations, a CPR demonstration with the new Lucas devices that were just purchased. We were able to showcase this wonderful equipment that we've been afforded. We also had a car extrication demonstration, and then we showcased all the different responsibilities that the fire service overseas. So overall, it was a great event with lots of activities and demonstrations, and we're really looking forward to stepping it up one more notch for 2023, where it'll be the fire department's 100th year anniversary comes together right at the open house. So really looking forward to that and showcasing the history of the fire service. Thank you.
Thank you. In addition to that, I want to invite everyone out for the 27th Annual Silent Parade. The parade kicks off at 7 o'clock from Hinsdale, travels through Clarendon Hills, Westmont, Downers Grove, and Lisle. I want everyone to keep in mind that this is a tribute to fallen firefighters as well as fire victims. Everyone is invited to attend. Bring your flashlights. Being in that I grew up in the fire service, this is just a very special, emotional tribute to everyone who has been injured or killed by in a fire. And I want to invite everybody out. We'll put our order in that it'll be good weather and it'll be a perfect evening. So I do want to ask everyone to please come on out and represent everyone. And that's all I have. Mayor,
Well, thank you. Trustee Brady, Community Development
Earlier
Committee.
this evening, we heard about the Bohemian Crystal closing. Well, over a period of years, there's a company called Illinois Bell Telephone. There's a group well over 100 people who used to come once a month, every month, the fourth Wednesday of the month, and they had a luncheon there, and they've been doing this for many, many years. So we're trying to keep it into Westmont. And through Larry Foxburg, we're moving the luncheon now to the Neat Restaurant on Cass Avenue, and they will meet monthly in the Neat Restaurant. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And turning over to Trustee Barker, Environmental Improvement Committee and Westmont First Chair, double duty.
Thank you, Mayor. The Environmental Improvement Committee just met this week, and we're happy to report that we're finally done with the waste hauler RFP recommendations. We've passed them on to the village for their review, as well as the village board and the mayor. And we'll be going out to bid in the next couple of years. We've got that document in, and we're doing this in a timely fashion. I think I hear more and more conversation about waste haulers and waste conversations lately, so timing is great that we're entertaining this, and I'm looking forward to the end result. We also have a pumpkin composting event on November 5th. And you can bring your pumpkins to be composted. It's hosted by the Environmental Improvement Committee, and that will go at, as we all know, the Westmont Library is allowing us to put a container there where we'll collect the pumpkins and all the organic stuff, the candles and the decorations all have to be removed. But I'm also happy to say that we have some participation from Marker School District helping us with that. I think this is year number 4 where their science club comes out and helps. So it's really a nice day, weather permitting. And we encourage everybody to recycle those pumpkins and not let them go into a landfill. And then Westmont First will meet on October 17th at 5:30. And I just wanted to report again that the community mural program, the staff is completing an update draft of the program, and it will review this month at the Westmont First meeting. And then we're also going to start that conversation about community busking and see if that's a worthwhile adventure for the town. That's all I have, Mayor.
Well, thank you. We'll move on the agenda to the consent agenda. Is there any board member who'd like any of these items removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd ask Manager May to please read.
I guess that's a good thing because it's a very short consent agenda this evening. Begins with Village Board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes of the Village Board meeting held September 22nd, 2022. It's followed by Finance Ordinance number 12 in the amount of $930,305.27. There are 2 purchase orders. First purchase order, Haumedica Osteanics Corp., $43,619.71. That is for the Lucas device, the chest compression system that was just spoken to earlier. Second purchase order, Baxter and Woodman Incorporated, $99,250. This is Phase 3 engineering services, which is like construction supervision for the East Des Moines water main project. Those 2 purchase orders, together with Finance Ordinance number 12, equate to $1,073,174.98. And that's the entire consent agenda this evening.
Do I have a motion to approve as read?
Motion to approve is read. Little?
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second. Any comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Little. Did you hear?
Yes.
Trustee Little. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich is absent. Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll move on to new business. A, hotel motel grant request, FMC natatorium. Board to consider a motion awarding a hotel motel grant request in the amount of not to exceed $25,000 to FMC Aquatic Opportunities. And I'd ask Mr. Forsberg to come up and introduce and maybe discuss a little bit more about this hotel. I know we've got representatives from FMC.
Good evening, Ian. Yes, we do have a grant request that's been submitted for $25,000, and these dollars are going to be used to install new bleachers at FMC Natatorium. And we do have with us tonight Mary Ann Kaufman and Karen Crone. If you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit about what your vision is and what's coming up, because I know over the last couple months, there's been some new activities that you're working on. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Kaufman, and I'm with FMC Natatorium. So we have a lot of exciting things that have happened even in the first 2 years that we've been open. So found myself in front of you guys a lot prior to that opening, and happy to say that everything we thought might occur did occur. So we opened our doors during COVID. It wasn't fun, but it worked out for us. We were able to host 13 different club teams for their practices because they weren't in school. They couldn't get into any of their high schools. So we were fortunate enough to be able to get as many kids swimming as possible. So that was a blessing for all those children that would have been otherwise outside of doing nothing on their activities. So that turned out to be a good thing for everybody because no matter what we were dealing with COVID. And then we were able to host a zone meet. Parents couldn't I think we did end up having parents come into the natatorium. Originally, they weren't gonna be able to come in when we planned the zone meet. We were still hosting it, the kids were still gonna be swimming, so that meant zones was 5 different states, so that meant everybody was coming in from those states, all the parents, because these were young kids under the age of 14. So we did host that zone meet, and it luckily did open up, and we were able to at least have parents inside the natatorium, so that was a good thing. But we have done a lot in the 2 short years. We've been able to host IHSA girls, boys, and girls state meet. We'll be hosting it again this year. The girls are in November, the boys are in February. We'll also be hosting it. We signed a 3-year contract with the IHSA on that meet. So right now, we actually need bleachers on our deck. We have bleachers in the seating area. We have half the bleachers that we need on our deck, but the school, right now, Hinsdale Central is the one hosting that meet, and they actually bring in their bleachers on trucks, the ones that we need. I worry that moving them in and out of our double doors on our pool deck, we're going right onto our tile, that we could crack. It'd just be nice to have our own that are always there. We also just signed, the bid was accepted for U.S. water polo. So there's gonna be a national meet in November, and that meet will have both, the competition pool will have 2 competition courses going, and there'll be games going all day long on those 2 courses. So we'll have that in November, and we also signed an agreement for them to come back in 2024. So we have 2 years that they'll be coming. We also signed an agreement, and this is also a national level event for April, and it is with Synchronized Swimming. So something new. We hope that we can rally all the ballet schools that are in Westmont, get them in to see that, there is something that happens in the pool that is also dancing. So we thought we would reach out to them and maybe even do something fun, like for our swim team, when we hosted TYR Pro Series, that was hosted in March. All the Olympians came to that meet, which was great. That was something that you usually bid on 2 to 3 years in advance. With COVID, they had, not done it for a couple years. So they came to us 19 days before that TYR Pro Series and asked if we would take it. DuPage County Sports Commission, the village, Park District, everybody helped us actually turn that around in 19 days, so we were ready for that. But they, came to us, asked us to do them a favor, but now they are gonna return again in April. So they did accept a bid from us to come back in April, so that'll be nice for 2023. We also are pushing them to make sure they come back prior to the Olympics on 2024, because I think that would be a really big deal. So anyway, it does help if we have more bleachers on our deck. It's something that we feel we need as soon as possible, just because we have already signed all these contracts and hope to continue to bring more events to the natatorium. So if you have any questions.
I do have to say that you put us on the map as far as tourism in the not only Illinois, but the region. Your facility is second to none. I think the nearest one is Indianapolis, maybe one up maybe in Michigan or somewhere in Wisconsin, but it's a beautiful facility, and the reason people are coming here is because of what you've done with that facility and the benefits it serves our community as far as the hotels, the restaurants, is just tremendous. So I want to thank you for all you've done.
Mayor.
Welcome. I'm glad that it worked out so well.
Yeah, Trustee Barker.
So I was very impressed to see us on TV in March.
That was awesome.
And
They were saying FMC natatorium at Westmont. Everything was Westmont, Illinois.
And I was
It was
very
great.
impressed to see a picture my daughter took of you teaching my grandson how to swim. So, yeah.
That's great.
Full service, but you lived up to everything you told us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have a little flyer, just so you know, it is really a nice little, there's some nice things we do for the residents at the natatorium. So we offer for residents a 30% discount. That was agreed upon with the Park District originally. So they get 30% off on our open lap swimming monthly. It's normally $60, it's $42 a month for a Westmont resident. Punch cards, they're for aqua aerobics as well as for open swim lap. It's for 11 visits, $150 for a non-park resident, and for a park resident, it's $105. So we consistently do 30% off on any programs that are offered. Like we have group swim lessons, the same with that. If it's like a private lesson or something, those are 50-50 splits with the instructor or the coach. They're usually a high-level coach. That's the only place where we can't offer that because we're doing something different. But we try to offer as many programs as possible. And the interesting thing is, I haven't looked at it recently, but at one point, I think it was on the swim lessons, when I looked at it last, because I had mentioned it to Bob Fleck, that I think it was almost 46% were Westmont residents using our group lessons. So it was pretty impressive.
We couldn't pass a referendum for it, so we had you build it.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes.
Just a quick comment. I want to thank you and Larry specifically. There's a lot of work that goes behind these events that I kind of learned, and it's kind of impressive, I think, how quick everything happened and fast. And I think a special recognition goes to one of our county board members, Brian Krajewski, who worked intimately, I think, with everybody here, and Mary Ann, your team too. And it was just great to see. I mean, you don't see government work that fast, but it was all for the right reason, and I love these events. I drive by them all the time. It's flawless. It's the right kind of people that we want in town, and it's great to hear when Chipotle has to come up to you and say, hey, we ran out of burritos.
That's right.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So great job. Thank you for that. And honestly, everybody worked together, Mayor, so thank you for kind of brokering all that. It was a lot of work, but we did a good job.
Manager May.
I just wanted to add and to tie that all together and, pointing that out, but spoke well to the relationship, well, I guess a three-party relationship between the FMC Natatorium, the Park District, and the Village of Westmont, and that was the local component. But there's also that support from DuPage County and DuPage CVB. And this request here tonight is for this specific purpose, but they're also successful with the assistance from the county to attract all these events that are rapidly coming to town.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's right.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve Guzzo.
Second?
Motion made, second. Any additional comments? The only thing I have to say, in 2 weeks a week from tomorrow, you're being honored at the Illinois Association of Park Districts by receiving a cooperation award for the park, the village, so congratulations on that. Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker,
Yes.
trustee Guzzo,
Yes.
trustee Nero,
Yes.
trustee Brady,
Yes.
trustee Little.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, new business B, Holy Trinity Parish Center and Plan Development. Board to consider ordinances approving requests from Diocese of Joliet and Holy Trinity Catholic Parish regarding the properties located at 111 South Cass Avenue for the following: Main Parish Campus, which is 11111 South Cass Avenue, 25 East Richmond Street, 108, 110, and 126 South Linden Avenue. 1, a map amendment to rezone from B1 Limited Business District and R3 Single Family Detached Residential District to an R4 General Residence District. 2, a special use permit for a religious institution. 3, special use permit for 2 electronic message board signs. 4, variances to allow existing non-conforming buildings to encroach into front yard, side yard, adjacent to street, side yard, and rear yard. 5, variance to allow a new parish center to encroach into the rear yard adjoining Linden Avenue. 6, a variance to increase the maximum allowable size and depth of a detached garage. 7, a primarily plat of subdivision to consolidate multiple lots. 8, site and landscaping plan. 9, masonry construction waiver, off-site parking lot 137 South Cass Avenue. 10, Special use permit to allow an off-size parking lot that serves the main parish campus. 11, a preliminary plat of subdivision to consolidate 3 lots. 12, site and landscaping plan, main parish campus and off-site parking lot. 13, zoning map amendment to establish a planned development overlay district for all listed properties. And 14, parking stall size waiver. And I'm going to ask that Director Sylvester provide some additional information.
All right, I think you need a drink of water after reading all that.
I'm going to have later.
It's a complicated proposal. I'm going to try to be brief, but try to make sure everyone understands what the request is. But before I do that, we had a late submission of some, it's a letter of support from Hank at the Knights of Columbus and the People's Resource Center. You can pass these towards the center. Came in earlier this week, too late to be added to the agenda center. And then the other thing I'd like to do before I just launch into my summary is just make sure I acknowledge 2 people, really the applicants from Holy Trinity. They showed great patience as the number of requests that the mayor just read indicates. This is a complicated project. There's a lot of pieces. Honestly, it was a bit of a mess, and they were very patient with the other person I need to acknowledge, Joe Hennerfind in my office, for working through the complications and working through the messiness with the very patient members from the church. So thanks to both of them. So what is being requested? There are 14 motions. If you either want to jot a note or if you have a paper copy of the agenda, 7 of the items that you're going to vote on are really just cleaning up mapping and zoning and entitlement loose ends. It's crossing T's and dotting I's. So this would be items 1, 2, 4, 7, 10, 11, and 13. It's rezonings, it's granting approval for a church that's been there for decades that never got the approval that technically it should have. It's granting variances for buildings that have been there for decades that never got maybe a variance that they should have. It's creating a PD overlay to acknowledge that this is more of a campus with multiple uses and multiple buildings. Those are all cleanup things that just sort of tidy up the property from a zoning perspective. So really what's being requested, or what's new that you're being asked to approve, it's items 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12, and 14. So let me just quickly explain what those are, and then there are some representatives here from the church who I know want to come up and introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their project. The first one listed, and I think the discussion that maybe got the village reviewing all of this 2 years ago, is a request for 2 electronic message board signs. Those require special use permits. They'd like one on the west side of their campus along Cass and one on the east side. That needs a special use permit. So that's a new thing. You should be aware that that's one of the things that they're asking for your approval of. Jumping down to number 5, they're proposing a new parish center. Very exciting. Large building, big facility. It's an exciting project for the church. It needs a variance. So you're being asked to approve the variance so that that building can sit where they're proposing it to sit on the property. And then as a part of that, actually it's under number 8, but you're being asked to approve that new building. Third, which is number 6, they're proposing a garage to store equipment in, grounds equipment, grounds maintenance stuff. It is larger than the village's ordinances allow. So they're asking for a variance for a garage. So you're not only approving the garage that they want, but you're saying that you're comfortable allowing it to be larger than we normally allow garages to be. So that's the third item. It's number 6 on the list. And then 8 and 9, site and landscape plan sort of is the blanket approval for everything they're doing on their main campus. All of the reconfigurations, all of the parking lot changes, all of the landscaping, all of the buildings, all of the garages, all of that is wrapped up under site and landscape plan. And then lastly, this isn't a zoning item, but there are masonry requirements in the village's building code. That's why it's listed as a waiver, not a variance. They're building I think we all would agree, a very beautiful parish center, but technically it doesn't meet the technical requirements for full masonry construction. Meets all of the fire protection requirements, fire ratings, it's safe, but in terms of the quantity and the amounts of brick on the exterior, they're asking for a waiver from that requirement. So that has everything to do with the main campus. Then, because of the way their property is configured, they have a parking lot that kind of touches it at a corner of their main campus, but it is technically a separate property. So anything that they're proposing to do there also needs to be approved by you. And the first approval is it needs a special use permit because it's not part of their campus. It's right next to their campus, but it is technically separate. And if any use, let's say a business or a church wants a parking lot away, it needs to get a special use permit. And then the site and landscape plan for how they're proposing to reconfigure that off-site parking lot. That's everything that's listed under 137 South Cass. And then lastly, skipping down to the main campus, they're also requesting a waiver from parking stall dimensions. Again, we have requirements that parking stalls be 10 feet wide, 20 feet deep. They're skinnying them up a little bit so that they can get a couple of more parking stalls into their parking lot. That requires your blessing by approving the waiver that's being requested. I am not going to go into the details of their campus plan and the building that's being proposed, the garage that's being proposed, the configuration and layouts of their parking lots, the details of their electronic message boards that they're requesting approval for. I believe you've all seen the application packets, and usually you're very good about watching the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, so I'm assuming you're all familiar with that. But if you have questions about any of those details, why don't we have the representatives from the church come up now?
Yeah.
And I think you could direct any questions along those lines to this group.
P&Z approved.
P&Z did recommend approval for all of these items, yes.
State your name. Your address.
Well, good evening. Chris Lavoie for the record. Chris Lavoie, President, CM Lavoie and Associates, 633 Rogers, Downers Grove. And I'm here tonight representing Holy Trinity Parish in the Diocese of Joliet on case 058, 2022. Before I begin, I'm just going to keep my comments brief, but I wanted to thank the mayor, thank the trustees, thank the village manager, and the village attorney for their assistance, in particular for allowing me to represent Holy Trinity. But my children went to Holy Trinity for many years, and it's been part of our family growth. It's been part of all of our growth, and you know, I was very happy to step in and do that project. But being a planning and zoning commissioner here, I needed special permission, and I was blessed to receive that permission. This project has been in the dream of many residents and families who send their children to Holy Trinity School. They send their children to Holy Trinity School without a gym. The parish now has raised over $4 million for this project, and they have struggled through many hurdles to get to where they are today. This dates back many, many years. It's been many, many years in the works. And finally, we've crossed the hurdles with the diocese, we've crossed the hurdles with funding, we've crossed the hurdles with COVID, we've crossed many, many hurdles here, and worked very closely with village staff to bring this project forward. It's something that is a little unique in a way from other projects, and that is, number one, it's much different than other projects that you have seen, that we have all seen, that I consider within a couple blocks of downtown ground zero development activity in the village of Westmont. And special attention needs to be taken because this is our town. This is, I mean, I live here. I very much spending a good part of my life in Westmont, and I think that special attention needs to be paid to downtown. You know, I think that another unique thing about Holy Trinity is that there's 66 parishes in the Diocese of Joliet. And I think, to the best of my knowledge, this is the only parish that doesn't have a gym. It doesn't have a parish center. So they've operated all this time and been successful all this time with, I believe, 140-some children in their school because it's such a good school. Dr. Simon does a great job running the school, and in cooperation with the Park District using their gym. It's been years that we've done that, years. And I'm so happy that we have a chance to bring this before you. The other little difference here that we see projects come before the board is that this project is really being presented to you tonight in front of you for hopefully your approval, is coming to you by the residents of Westmont. And the beneficiaries of this project are our children. This is something that we see, growth potential here. We have an influx of, our new building on the corner, for example. Here we're a block away. We're going to see growth within the parish. And then I think that we're very blessed to receive the approval from the Diocese of Joliet, especially when our neighbors to the south in Darien, Our Lady of Peace has closed their school. And where are those families now relocating to? Most of them are at St. Mary's in Downers Grove or St. Joe's in Downers Grove. They have to cross the tracks to get there. And it's something that we see a huge growth potential here. But without a gymnasium, without a parish center, without community events, without ministry, without seniors participating in very active parish life, they need a place to go. So I'll just end my comments there. I know that this is a very complex project. I thank Joe on staff and Bruce. Everyone on staff has been great to work with. It's a very complex situation, but we're taking, and I can use an analogy I think you'll all get. Remember the movie Apollo 13, when the engineers came in and they threw all of this stuff on the table and they said, I want you to make that fit that. And that's essentially what we did. We took all the pieces and made it fit our zoning code. And essentially it wasn't just square parts, it was a lot of parts that had no way to fit. So I'm here to itemize all those things and request your blessing for approval as presented. And thank you for allowing us to be here tonight.
Do you have someone else who'd like to address us? Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you to members of the village board. I appreciate you giving me
Name and address, she needs
a
that.
few minutes of your time. My name is Steve Riedel. I live at 151 Washington Court in Westmont. Been a resident of Westmont since 1998. At Holy Trinity, I've served as chairman of the Finance Council, school board president. I currently serve as chair of the Parish Center Committee and the varsity basketball coach. At Holy Trinity, we hold an annual fundraiser. Benefits the school, the ministries, some of the other programs. We've held that fundraiser over the past 20 years at Ashton Place in Willowbrook, the Drake in Oak Brook, the Barn in Clarendon Hills, the Carlisle in Lombard, some other venues. There's some common themes here. None of them have been in Westmont. Our basketball and volleyball home games are at Christ the King in Lombard. Building the Parish Center has been a 20-year effort at Holy Trinity. The benefits to the parish are clear. Large event space for celebrations, fundraisers, other parish events, conference room space for our various ministries, and gymnasium for our sports teams, and recess on bad weather days for the kids. I believe the benefits for the village of Westmont are equally clear. We'll have a high school-sized gymnasium with the ability to host games and tournaments at all levels. We'll have a gathering space that can seat up to 320 people with a full-service kitchen. And we'll have a place to host community-wide celebrations like St. Patrick's Day event, Polish Fest, Italian Fest, etc. I would much rather host Holy Trinity events here in Westmont and have them catered by Neat or Dolce's or Uncle Bub's or Terrassi versus going to Oak Brook or Clarendon Hills. I would much rather host basketball and volleyball games here in Westmont rather than hosting them in Lombard as we do today. Frankly, the Parish Center will not only allow us to keep Westmont dollars in Westmont, but it's going to help us bring in dollars from the surrounding community. It's certainly not going to be at the size and the scope of the natatorium, but the implications, I think, are equally clear, and I think the benefits to the community are going to be equally clear. To date, as Chris mentioned, we've raised $4.1 million against the anticipated $4.5 million cost of the project. 100% of those funds have come from private donors, but not just Holy Trinity members. They've been people in the surrounding communities, people who were formerly in Westmont, moved out of state, but still feel strongly that they want to support the project and see it be successful. We have been asked for and received $0 in public funding. So with that, I very much hope you'll not only approve the project, but throw your enthusiastic support behind it. It's a very important project, and I thank you very much for your time.
And thank you. And I would like, no, you, that's right, Steve. I'd like the board make a motion to approve this as a block, all 14, and if a board member or trustee wants to remove an item to vote separately, you can, but I need a motion to approve all 14 as a block, so there's one vote. I have a motion.
Motion to approve all 14 as a block, Nero.
Second, Little?
Motion been made in second.
Second.
On the question, trustee Barker.
I know a little bit about this project. Congratulations sincerely. There's talk out there that they identified the need for this in 1950s. So it's as you guys all know, it's a vital part of the parish. It's great for the church. It's great for the community. I had only one question of all of this is the garage size. And the question, it's simple. If the neighbor is aware of it that has the nice house there on Linden, if they're aware of it, that's great. If they don't object to it, that's even better. But if they're not aware of it, I'd say let's put a couple of trees up to screen it so that it doesn't impact the value of their property. Other than that, great job. Chris, you did a wonderful job summarizing the value of this, and thanks for working with all of them.
Do I have anybody in the audience who'd like to comment? Seeing none, I turn to Director Sylvester. You got anything to add before we vote?
Well, just very briefly on notice, this is a good opportunity to remind everyone, for variances, rezoning, special uses, we notify everyone in the vicinity. They have an opportunity to come and express support or concerns at the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing. And I believe no one from next door came and either to the public hearing or communicated with village staff about any concerns.
And I do have to comment from personal experience, being the director of the Park District, that it was a blessing that we built a gym at 75 to across the street from the church. But as the years went on, more and more park programs were going in. Use of the gym was very limited. So not only for the youth activities, but for the entire community. It's a great building to have for every age group. So I do have to congratulate you on raising the money and the plans that you have put together. Any other comments? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
All 14 passed in one motion, so congratulations. When do you plan, I hear there's some equipment already started.
Yeah, it's already started.
Lights on, so when do you plan on starting?
Mr. Mayor, we are actively working on the drawings to submit for building permit, and we were hoping to actually break ground this year on some things. I'll probably need some help from staff to do that as far as getting foundations in the ground and that kind of thing, but we are working very aggressively to get this underway.
Good, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
We look forward to ribbon cutting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, new business C, transfer of Warwick properties to the Park District. Board to consider a resolution authorizing the transfer of properties located at 412, 414, 415, 416, and 417 North Warwick Avenue to the Westmont Park District as required by a previously approved intergovernmental agreement. Manager May.
Attorney's documents got different titles on the item, but it is the transfer of the properties to the Park District. So these 5 properties, and we heard earlier from the FMC and auditorium, regarding their experience, and then I touched on it's not a 3-party agreement, it was 3 2-party agreements that all helped that take place, and one of those agreements is the relationship between the Park District and the Village of Westmont. These 5 addresses, 3 on one side of the street, 2 on the other, but all adjacent to each other, are all properties that the village owned and were collected, and we've installed a stormwater management improvement at these locations that is in existence and functioning today. The Park District has recently purchased one more property to the north of these 5 that then connects all of these parcels together with Fritz Worley Park. And so the transfer of these properties to the Park District allows them to, consolidate, improve, and it becomes one larger park campus at this point. This was all prearranged, and this was the direction we were heading, and this is that item tonight.
What's the address of the one that was just purchased?
It would have been north of 416, so I'll call it 418-ish. Yeah, north.
Again, this is consistent through the years of our agreement with the park as far as them utilizing these detention area properties to maximize recreational value, so.
Yeah, it is still an open space, open land
yeah.
facility.
And they're applying for grant to do some development that won't affect the detention on it. So I think it's a win-win for the community, and I entertain a motion to transfer their properties.
Motion to transfer property?
Second, Parker.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from anybody?
Just
Trustees?
confirming that it was 418.
If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll move on to new
Mayor?
business. Yes. You're throwing a curve here. What?
Yeah, well, there's the agenda packet, and then the copy that you and I are following have one less item on it than the published agenda. Which is my error.
All right, there's another item that was missed on my agenda, and it's new business C, engineering agreement, Phase 2 engineering for the North Elevated Water Storage Tank. Board to consider ordinance authorizing engineering agreement with Baxter and Woodman Incorporated for Phase 2 design engineering for the North Elevated Water Storage Tank project. Manager May.
And interim director Russ Bach is here
Okay.
to introduce the item. Been working on this project with us.
Yes, thank you. The village has a long-term relationship with Baxter and Woodman, and they have been actually working on the Phase 2 design for the engineering for the 1 million gallon elevated water storage tank. Included in that process is the tank design, the IEPA permit preparation, as well as the bid documents. So they've already started work on it, but as a matter of formality, we're having you approve the agreement. The number provided as far as the $95,700 is, by approving this, will still be under budget for the $300,000 that was budgeted for the engineering as well as land acquisition for the tower.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second Little?
Motion made, second to approve. Comments? Again, this is a big community assistance up on the north side to have that water tower. This is one of those things, like the church in 1950 think they're gonna do it. I think Steve thought about this for the last 35 years, that,
And Mike, very much so, but yes.
and in cooperation with the school district, we were able to find a spot to put it on, so. If no other questions, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
No. Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now we'll move on to new business, I guess it's E now. Amendment to the Administrative Code Hearing System. Board to consider ordinance amending Chapter 1, Article 2 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances to allow for adjudication of violations of Chapter 74, taxation through the Administrative Code Hearing System, and Assistant Manager Parker. Yes.
Right. So this is something that was discussed in more detail at the Admin Finance Committee by Finance Director Cunningham. And basically what we're doing is putting a little bit more teeth into the ability to encourage businesses to pay their place of freedom tax and to pay them on time. We've got a number of businesses that pay, but only when we remember to remind them quite a bit. And this would be kind of having them put a little bit more of that onus on themselves. And so we're simply adding this on to the list of things that we can already send to adjudication.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Nero.
Motion been made and second. Additional comments or questions? We covered it extremely well in committee, and I ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Motion passes. Miscellaneous, anybody got anything they'd like to add or say? Seeing none, then we do not need an executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Little?
Second, Nero.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody for attending. This meeting is adjourned.